నిన్న ఆల్రెడీ సెట్ అయ్యే ఉంది స్టార్ట్ అయిపోతుంది. అంతే. అంతే సార్.
Yes, very good morning. Yes, sir. Some of you are new to this college, so I am Dr. N. working as professor of mathematics and worked as IPSC coordinator from 2020. Recently, I was given the additional responsibility of in charge leading that is admissions, certifications, approvals, accreditations, and certifications. It's a part of IPSC. Earlier, through IPSC, we have conducted so many national FDPs by involving faculty members from all over India, even from north, west, south, and so on. And recently, Dr. Ramkumar has taken charge as Dean IPSC. So he came up with a new idea of conducting these awareness programs. So I call these as not simply as FDP, but faculty mutual development programs, because we are all faculty. It is not a one-to-one direct top-to-bottom instruction. Just it is nothing but sharing of our knowledge. So I will have authority in particular area. I will share my knowledge with you. Similarly, you will have some authority. So you come up and share your knowledge. We can mutually develop each other, and in turn we can develop our organization also. That is the motto behind these programs. And I thank our management and our team at PSC and other persons who initiated this program. Now, the topic given to me is fundamentals of outcome-based education. As you know, OB is a big portion. So we can take 15-day sessions also on this topic. Since I was given the topic of only fundamentals, just I will cover all the aspects of this OBE and the remaining resource persons tomorrow and after tomorrow, they will go in deep on the remaining portions of this particular OBE. Okay. So at the end of this session, you can understand this particular field. So my intention is to cover all the topics 1 to 8 so that you can have a clear idea on outcome-based education. Now, from the last 10 years, I have attended so many FDPs by senior professors, and I have learned this particular topic from these 4 persons. The first one is Professor K. Rajnikant. He is a retired professor of CSC from IIC Bangalore. When I worked in my previous college in the year 2016, we have conducted a 2-week FDP on MBA, particularly MBA, in terms of OBE. So from there, I learned so many concepts by personal interaction with him. Next, Dr. Jacob Mendes. He is one of the greatest authorities on this outcome-based education in India. He is one of the main persons involved in the outcome-based education process, by which our country has signed an MOU in Washington Accord. Next, Professor K.K. Bakshi. He is a senior professor of JNU, Delhi, and he is also a member of the Madan Mohan Malviya Teacher Training Center. So this particular person regularly conducting activities to educate the faculty in this area. And the 4th one is the ex-director of this college, Dr. J. Rajamurthy sir. In the year 2021, the month of May and June, he has trained us in this particular area. So I'm thankful to him also. Now, the outcomes of the session, at the end of these 2 sessions, upon successful completion of the session, the participants will be able to demonstrate the philosophy of continuous improvement. That continuous improvement is the main philosophy of OBE. Next, demonstrate the feedback mechanism and formulate feedback and survey forms. Demonstrate the importance of OBE and accreditation, outcome-based accreditation OBE, outcome-based education OBE, and outcome-based accreditation OBE. Demonstrate different types of accords, usually Washington Accord, Sydney Accord, and Dublin Accord. Formulate the program education objective statements. Next, recognize various graduate attributes. Demonstrate the true rhythm of each PO. Formulate the program outcomes. Correlate the program specific criteria with program curriculum and competency. Formulate course outcomes. I will not go in detail about COs and POs, that is the duty of the next resource person. Just I will touch these topics. Demonstrate revised Bloom's taxonomy and formulate course deliverables in their respective discipline based on subject. So in these slides, I have prepared my PPT. So since I am asked to cover the fundamentals, I will touch each of these topics so that you will have an overall awareness on the entire process of OBE. Next, in time permits, we will go in depth also. Now, throughout my session, I will use these particular terms. So the nomenclature is first course. What do I mean by a course? It is just like a subject only. So a theory or a practical and theory come practical subject studied in a semester. For example, operating systems, engineering drawing, all these are considered to be courses in a OBE system. We call them as subjects also. Next, course outcome. Statements that describe significant and essential learning that learners have achieved and can reliably demonstrate at the end of the course. So this is what I mean by course outcome. Next, what I mean by program. See, department is different from program. For example, the department of C may run one BTech program, one MTech program, one doctoral program also. So program is not a department. So it is a specialization or a discipline of a degree. So BTech is one program, MTech is one program, PhD is one program like that. Next, program education objectives. It means what we are expecting the students to be able to do after graduating 4 to 5 years. Once they step out of the college, after 4 years, where we want to see our students. What is our objective? They will be given the form of program education objectives. Next, graduate attributes. Attributes means the quality or a characteristic. What are the qualities a student is supposed to acquire after completing 4 years of a degree? So they are given by NBA, 12 graduate attributes are given, and using those graduate attributes, we will tailor the statements that are suitable to our program and we call them as program outcomes. Next, program specific criteria. Program specific outcomes. There will be some specific outcomes which are required only for ECE, which are suitable only for ECR, only for EEE, only for mechanical. So we will have 2 or more program specific outcomes apart from these 12 POs. Next, AWAIT. This is nothing but Accreditation Board for Engineering and Technology. This is just like our NBA. It says American Accreditation Agency. And NBA is of course NBA National Board of Accreditation. And EAC, that is Engineering Accreditation Commission. This is European Accreditation Agency. So we will use these words in my presentation henceforth. Now, let us start with our world Gurukul system. In world Gurukul system, there will be one teacher and some disciples. So the teacher uses to give some instructions and the student will learn. At the end, the teacher will assess the student. It is simply top to down instruction only. So there is no process of assessing the student's skill set in our old education system. So in that system, teachers are the sages on the stage. Once a teacher steps into the class, everything will be under his control only. He is the hero during the part of 15 minutes or 1 hour. Next, bureaucracy means the government, universities, they will give the rules, they will give the plans, and they will conduct the test. Next, top to down instruction and produce outcomes. Students who pass the standard test will give a certificate, that's it. So there is no scope for assessing the actual skills what the student has acquired. Now let us compare traditional teaching with our modern teaching. I have taken 5 different aspects. The first one is what is the role of the teacher? In the traditional teaching, the role of a teacher is he is the authority, he is the main source of knowledge. Student depends only on teacher only. There will be no other resource. Whatever teacher says, that is Veda, that's it. Whereas in modern teaching, teacher role is limited to a facilitator. He will give the resources, he will give the knowledge, he will mentor the student, he will guide the student, and it is the interest and capacity of the student to gain the knowledge. The teacher role will be just like a facilitator, mentor, and guide. Teacher will not take the entire responsibility of the student result. The student has to strive so that he has some advantage over others. Second aspect is learning style. In the traditional teaching, the learning style is memorization, sometimes blind memory, rote memory. Next, repetition. Studying the same concept again and again, memorizing and producing exam in 3 hours to get some certificate. Whereas in modern teaching, the learning style is exploring the various applications of the particular topic. Next, solving maximum problems to get a grip over the concept. That is the main difference in modern teaching. The main difference between traditional teaching and modern teaching is this learning style. Now, classroom tools. In traditional teaching, the classroom tools are nothing but chalk, blackboard, and textbooks. Whereas in modern teaching, we have so many digital tools, smart boards, and so many online resources. Next, coming to the aspect of student role. In traditional teaching, student is just a passive listener. In a class of 50 minutes, as per the chairman of KCT, the ex-chairman of ACT, T.G. Sitaraman, the maximum concentration power of any student in the class is just 5 minutes. In the first 5 minutes of the class, if the teacher fails to tell what is going to deliver in the next 15 minutes, automatically the student will lose interest. The remaining 40 minutes, just he will simply act that he is listening. So in the first 5 minutes, we have to give a clear idea of what we are going to teach. Based on that, he has to feel that I should not miss this particular class. And in the last 5 minutes, we have to consolidate what actually we taught. So the student can find the difference. What the teacher expects and what we have learned. So they can find the gap and interact with the teacher outside the classroom. Whereas in modern teaching, active participants. So here, modern teaching, the teacher is not supposed to teach everything, not supposed to give the entire material. He has to leave some topics to the curiosity of the student. Unless we force the students to think, to act, he cannot learn what is actually expected. So when Priti is notes teacher we are spoiling the student. So in the form of assignments, in the form of assessments, if we challenge the student, then automatically he will try to learn. And when we prepare around resources to know the answer of a particular concept, then automatically, unknowingly, he will learn some more topics. And definitely he will come back to the teacher to clarify his doubts. So he can acquire more knowledge. Next, the last aspect is focus. Not the last, I identified these 5 aspects, main aspects. So in traditional teaching, the focus is on discipline, that is class control, conducting examinations, and fixed curriculum. The fixed syllabus, the teacher will limit it to only that syllabus, will conduct examination, is over. Whereas in modern teaching, the focus is on skills. What are the skills the student expected to acquire? Whether he acquired the skills based on the various. It may be continuous assessment, it may be dated assessment, whatever it may be. Next, creativity. Where to give assignments to check the creative thinking levels of the students. Next, flexibility. There should be flexibility in the curriculum. We should not be limited to a fixed syllabus. From time to time, we have to change our curriculum so that the student can make himself ready to face the real world. Now, coming to this OBE. This OBE is the model that deviates from the traditional focus on what the institutions provide to the students in favor of making students demonstrate that they know and are able to do on completion of course or program. So completely, in the traditional system, the focus is what the teacher teaches, whereas in this OBE, the complete focus is what the student learns at the end of his or her learning. So the OBE shift the focus education from teaching to learning. చెప్పడం ఎంత నేర్చుకున్నాడు అందరి మీద కాన్సంట్రేషన్ ఉంటుంది. So OBE is based on these 4 pillars. The first one is the clarity of focus. Second one is designing down. Third one is high expectations. And fourth one is expanded opportunities. Our curriculum, our teaching should be in such a way that the students gets interest to learn continuously. Because I point and close up to that, the నేర్చుకోవాలి and the తప్పనివ్వాలి. For example, when we submit a PhD thesis, then in the last chapter, we will give the scope of extension of this work. ఇది ఎవరైనా సైట్ చేసి దీన్ని కంటిన్యూ చేసి ఏ area mention చేస్తాం. Even in paper publications also, unless we give that, our paper will not have value. So, but citations పెరగాలంటే ఖచ్చితంగా scope of okay. Now, so this is a Percy word 21 century skills. So most of the senior faculty coming from universities, they will use this 21st century skills. Most of the recruits also. What are these 21st century skills actually? So there are 16 skills which are categorized into three different baskets. The first basket is called knowledge basket. The second one is called the skill basket, and third one is called the attitude basket. Coming to the first basket, they are called foundational literacies. Means how the student apply the core skills for their everyday task. For nature, math, physics, chemistry, whatever engineering, drawing, how they use for their regular task. That is what we mean by foundation literacy. There are 6 types of foundation literacy. Every engineering student is expected to acquire at the end of the 4 years of degree. Or literacy, numeracy, scientific literacy, ICT literacy, financial literacy, and cultural and civic literacy. These are the 6 core skills the student is expected. Next, coming to the skill basket, they are known as competencies. So there are 4 competencies every student has to acquire. Critical thinking or problem solving, creativity, communication, and collaboration. These 4 are said to be skill qualities or skills, or simply known as competencies. And the third basket is attitude, character qualities. How students approach their changing environment. Whenever they change the environment, how fast they can adapt to that particular new environment. So that is called character qualities. There are 6 such qualities: curiosity, initiative, persistence or grit, adaptability, leadership, social and cultural awareness. So let us throw some light on these qualities. Because whenever we use the word 21st century skills, first of all, we must have clarity. What do you mean by curiosity? What do you mean by initiative? Like that. Whenever anyone asks, first we must have some clarity so that we can explain to the students. So foundation literacy, the first one, knowledge basket. How students apply core skills to everyday tasks. So the first one is literacy. It is nothing but the competence or knowledge in a specified area. So the ability to read and write. If you learn physics, then what are the bases of physics that are useful for our daily task? We must be able to understand them. Simply learning a subject, getting marks, that's not at all useful. Unless we are able to understand what to learn in the classroom in our real life, then we cannot claim ourselves as a science student or an engineering student. Next, second one, numeracy. It is nothing but the ability to understand and work with numbers. Next, coming to scientific literacy. It is nothing but an individual scientific knowledge and use of that knowledge to identify questions, and through those questions acquiring new knowledge so that we can explain scientific phenomena and to draw some evidence-based conclusions about science. మనం ఏదైనా కొత్త టాపిక్ చూసినప్పుడు we must have that courage to question them. We have to challenge ourselves, or we have to ask the teacher what is actually it means, and based on that we have to gain some knowledge, and using that knowledge we have to explain the scientific phenomena that is happening around us in nature, and to draw some evidence-based conclusions about science. So unless we can do all this, we cannot say that we are scientifically literate. So learning subjects cannot be treated as we are literate. But if we can apply what we have learned, then only we will consider to be a literate person as far as science and engineering are concerned. Next, fourth one, digital literacy, ICT literacy. So using digital technology, communication tools, and or networks to access, manage, integrate, evaluate, and create information in order to function in a knowledge society. So using the word ICT. ICT means interactive communication technology. So what do you mean by ICT? Using digital technology and the various communication tools we have with us and various networks to access, and using them manage, integrate, evaluate, and create information in order to function in a knowledge society. That is what I mean by ICT literacy. So in this present AI-driven era, everyone must be ICT literate. Otherwise, they will be outdated. Next, financial literacy. So what are the knowledge we gain? Unless we have this financial literacy, our life will be wasted. మీకు ఎంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఉన్నా డబ్బు సంపాదించడం చేత కాకపోతే సంపాదించిన దాచుకోవడం కూడా చేత కాకపోతే ఇన్వెస్ట్ చేయడం చేత కాకపోతే అంతా వేస్ట్. సో ఫైనాన్షియల్ లిటరసీ ఈజ్ ద ఎబిలిటీ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ అండ్ ఎఫెక్టివ్లీ యూజ్ వేరియస్ ఫైనాన్షియల్ స్కిల్స్ including personal financial management, budgeting and investing. For example, you must be thankful to our housewives. If we give some amount, 25,000, 30,000, they will manage their entire house with that 25,000 only. That's Mahayate definitely cheyalem, guarantee. So, personal financial management, budgeting, as well as investing. Ivanni తెలుసుండాలి. Financial literacy is the foundation of your relationship with money, and it is a lifelong journey of learning. Investment గురించి budget గురించి ఎంత నేర్చుకున్నా ఇంకా నేర్చుకోవడానికి చాలా ఉంది. So unless we know the value of money, unless we build a relationship with money, automatically most of the money what we earn will be wasted. That will not be useful for us. So every person must have this financial discipline. Unless he is a financial literate, he cannot have that discipline. Next, cultural literacy is another one required. The ability to understand and participate fluently in a given culture. The cultural literate person is able to talk and to understand others of the culture with fluency. For example, if you are posted in some Karnataka or in Kerala, unless we understand their culture, we cannot mingle with them. We cannot do teamwork with them. So we must be able to understand their culture. We must be able to participate in their culture, so that we can produce some result with teamwork. Next, civic literacy. This is missing in most of the citizens of our country. మనం పక్కన ఏమవుతుందో మనం పట్టించుకోము. So civic literacy means having the knowledge and skills you need to participate in making change in your community. So the knowledge we have, with the common sense we have, if we can bring some change in your neighborhood, then we will be considered as a civic literature person. So these are the basic literacies a person, a student, engineering student graduate from a college is expected to have. Now, coming to the skill basket or characteristics. So, how students approach complex challenges. The first 6 are simply everyday tasks, basic tasks. Now, coming to the next higher level. The first one is critical thinking. What do you mean by critical thinking? The objective analysis and evaluation of an issue in order to form a judgment. ఇష్యూ ఉందంటే దాన్ని ఎనాలిసిస్ చేసి ఎవాల్యుయేట్ చేసి దానికి సంబంధించిన జడ్జిమెంట్ ఫామ్ చేయగలిగితేనే విల్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ యాజ్ ఎ క్రిటికల్ థింకింగ్ పర్సన్. యు మస్ట్ ఏబుల్ టు అండర్స్టాండ్ క్లియర్లీ, యు మస్ట్ ఏబుల్ టు అనలైజ్ ఇట్, యు మస్ట్ ఏబుల్ టు ఎవాల్యుయేట్ ఇట్ సో దట్ వి కెన్ ఫార్మ్ ఎ జడ్జిమెంట్ ఆన్ ది పర్టిక్యులర్ ఇష్యూ. పూర్తిగా దాని మీద మనకు అవగాహన రావాలి. అలా చేయగలిగితేనే క్రిటికల్ థింకింగ్ పర్సన్ అంటారు. నెక్స్ట్, క్రియేటివిటీ. The use of imagination or original ideas to create something. It is also known as inventiveness. Man imagination use chesi kotta ideas man create cheyagalite. Generally, when students face the interviews, in the interview board there will be one person sitting at one corner. He will not ask any questions. Just he will observe our face and our body movements only. Mainly you will concentrate on our eye movement. So in our brain there will be 2 parts, left part and right part. So left part deals with the knowledge already we acquired, we know, and this right part deals with creativity. So whenever any person asks a question to the candidate, if already knows the answer, automatically without his notice his eyeballs will move to the left. And if the student want to say something with his imagination, then automatically, unknowingly, his eyeballs will move to the right. So the psychologist, that person will observe this movement. That student answer చేసింది వాడికి తెలిసి చెప్తున్నాడా, గెస్ చేసి చెప్తున్నాడా, ట్రై చేస్తున్నాడా, మొత్తం దాన్ని బట్టి తెలుసు. Based on that only our next person will come. So this is one of the main aspects of design thinking, design movement. And there is joke also. There is nothing left in my right brain and there is nothing right in my left brain. So ala kaakunda, so you must have some knowledge in our left brain and we must be able to think using our right brain component. So creativity means the use of imagination or original ideas to create something. It's also known as inventiveness. Next, communication. This is most important, particularly for our South Indian students. Whenever we go for any interview, if you observe, the North students, even though they don't know anything, confident they'll speak something. They'll dominate the entire hall. Whereas the South students, even though we have a lot of knowledge, due to shy or something, we will not open our mouth. That's the main reason that in most of the software companies, the selection of North students is more. Even in civil services also, maximum North students will select. South students will not be selected because even though we have knowledge, we don't know how to communicate. We restrict ourselves from communicating to others. And particularly for engineering students, communication means not only through talking, but through diagrams. Sometimes we have to communicate. That's why engineering drawing is considered to be the language of engineers. So you have to communicate everything through pictures. A picture is better than 1,000 words. You have to always keep in mind. Next, last one is collaboration. This is the fourth skill a student is expected to acquire at the end of the 4 years. The action of working with someone to produce something. Collaborate and output the personal work. So it is nothing but the action of working with something to produce something. If you are not open for collaboration, then automatically we will not have an outward development. So these are the 4 skills every student is expected under this skill basket. Now, coming to the attitude, character qualities, is also known as psychomotor qualities. How students approach their changing environment. So first basket, knowledge baskets, day-to-day life ni వాళ్ళు టాస్క్ ని ఎలా డీల్ చేయాలి. సెకండ్ వన్ స్కిల్స్, కొంచెం కాంప్లెక్స్ సాల్వ్ ఎలా రెక్ట్ అవ్వాలి. నౌ దిస్ థర్డ్ వన్, హౌ స్టూడెంట్స్ అప్రోచ్ దేర్ చేంజింగ్ ఎన్విరాన్మెంట్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇఫ్ ఎ సాఫ్ట్వేర్ ఎంప్లాయీ sent to some USA or UK, then how fast they can adjust to the particular environment defines the success. కొత్త ప్రాజెక్ట్ వచ్చినా, కొత్త ప్రాబ్లం వచ్చినా, ఏదైనా సరే ఎంత ఫాస్ట్ గా కొత్త దానికి అడ్జస్ట్ అవుతారు దాన్ని బట్టి సక్సెస్ డిపెండ్ అవుతుంది. సో ద ఫస్ట్ వన్ ఇస్ క్యూరియాసిటీ. ఇట్ ఇస్ నథింగ్ బట్ ఎ స్ట్రాంగ్ డిజైర్ టు నో ఆర్ లెర్న్ సంథింగ్. For example, for our teachers also, if a new subject is assigned by HOD, then how fast we can learn that particular subject, how fast we can prepare the lecturers for the subject will decide our success. Before starting the first class of the first unit, a true teacher must prepare for the last topic of the last unit. That is expected from every teacher. మీరు ఫస్ట్ యూనిట్ అంటే ప్రిపేర్ అయ్యే క్లాస్కి వెళ్ళి సెకండ్ యూనిట్ వచ్చినప్పుడు చూసుకుందాం అంటే యూ విల్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ ఏ ఓవరాల్ ఐడియా ఆన్ ది పర్టికులర్ సబ్జెక్ట్ అన్లెస్ ద టీచర్ నోస్ వాట్ ఈస్ దేర్ ఇన్ ద లాస్ట్ టాపిక్ ఆఫ్ ది లాస్ట్ యూనిట్. యూ విల్ నాట్ హ్యావ్ ద కరెక్ట్ ఐడియా ఆఫ్ ద పర్పస్, వాట్ పర్పస్ ద సబ్జెక్ట్ is introduced in that particular first year or second year, whatever it may be. So what the student is expected to learn, unless the teacher has an overall idea, how can we influence the student? So in the first class, directly if we go and put it in the first unit, first topic, then there is no use. In the first 1 or 2 hours, we have to tell what is the purpose of introducing this particular subject, what are the outcomes the teacher is expecting from the students, with what purpose this topic is introduced, and how this particular topic or subject is related to the other topics or other subjects. For example, in mathematics, when I teach MFCS, then automatically I will connect MFCS to all the remaining subjects of second, third, and final years of CSC, CSM, and CSC. Unless we tell that, student will not feel the importance of this subject. Otherwise, they will take this MFCS also just like English or some Telugu, just like a language. Similarly, whenever I teach P&S, the first two classes, I will tell where this particular P&S subject is for mechanical students, for civil students, for EC students, for triple students. Unless we tell that, so the student has to feel that I have to learn this particular subject, and if I don't learn the subject, I will miss this. ఈ సబ్జెక్ట్ నేర్చుకోవద్దు నేను ఎంత నష్టపోతానని స్టూడెంట్కి ఒక రకమైన భయం మనం క్రియేట్ చేస్తే తప్ప ఆ సబ్జెక్ట్ మీద ఇంట్రెస్ట్ చూపించాలి. సో అందుకనే క్యూరియాసిటీ, స్ట్రాంగ్ డిజైర్ టు నో ఆర్ లెర్న్ సంథింగ్. ఆ క్యూరియాసిటీ టీచర్కి ఉండాలి, సేమ్ క్యూరియాసిటీ స్టూడెంట్ లో కూడా మనం ఇంబార్క్ చేయగలగాలి. Similarly, the software students also, whenever they are given a new project, that particular project may need a new technology which they have not studied during their B.Tech course. Then, if they learn that particular new technology as fast as possible, then only they will lead the team. They will get a good career. Next, initiative. The ability to assess and initiate things independently, or the power or opportunity to act or take charge before others do. Generally, every project there will be 5 to 6 students. Only 1 or 2 will be active participants, and remaining will be passive only. So the HR will observe the students who are taking the initiative, whose contribution is more. Only they will get promotions and incentives. And if you simply keep silent, the answer doing automatically project will be completed, you will get marks like that. If we stay, then there will be no growth. So initiation is very, very important. Our higher authorities will check how fast, what is the character of this particular person, whether any new project is given, whether new assignment is given, whether he is ready to take the assignment or not, whether he is coming forward. For example, if Dean R&D principal sends a circular that apply for research projects, by seeing the circular, he will say that who will do projects for us, take it like. So we have to try, we have to take the initiative, we have to apply. Then we will think, if you want to get the project, how to proceed. Directly one apply chestaradu. So we have to collaborate with some IIT person or NIT person or Central University person. If we have the desire to get the project or funding project, then automatically we will try to find the ways of getting it. Manaki interest lekapothe, manaki initiation lekapothe em cheyalem. So, if we start with the first step, then automatically we may find difficulties in the first 4 to 5 steps. We may fail, no problem. But definitely, we will get some idea, some support from any direction so that we can reach that particular target, not in the first time at least, the second time or third time. Okay? Next, third one, persistence or greed. This is one of the main problems, ego problems. The fact of continuing an opinion or course of action in spite of difficulty or opposition. We will have some opinion on something. We will stick to that particular opinion. We will not change our mind. Sometimes that will damage our career, that will damage our entire working environment. So, if we know that we are correct, then we should be persistent. But if we don't know anything clearly, then we must be able to improve ourselves. Next, adaptability. This is the quality of being able to adjust to new conditions. Whenever we change the place, we change the project, we change the job, we change the place, then how fast we can adapt to the new environment will decide our success. Next, leadership. is nothing but the quality of leading a team. Everybody knows this. Next, social awareness. The ability to take the perspective of and empathize with others. Empathizing means మన వైపు నుంచి కాకుండా వాళ్ళ సైడ్ నుంచి ఆలోచించడం. For example, when we teach any topic in the class, then as a teacher, first we have to think, if I sit in my class as a student, whether I can understand this. What are the questions I want to ask the concerned teacher? Like that, if we ask, if as a student, if we challenge yourself, then you can understand what are the questions the student might pose to us and what are the answers we must do the particular students. So thinking by putting our legs in their shoes. This is called empathy. So ఇది మనకు ఉండాలి. The ability to take the perspective of and empathize with others, including those from diverse backgrounds and culture. The ability to understand social and ethical norms for behavior and to recognize family, school and community resources and supports. So this awareness must be there with all of us. Next, cultural awareness. Sensitivity to the similarities and differences that exist between two different cultures. When we go to a new country on any assignment, the culture will be completely different from their culture. We should not comment them and we should not look cheap on them. So we have to understand their culture. Unless we mingle with them, unless we learn, unless we mingle with them, we cannot work with them. So this particular culture awareness should be there. We have to mutually respect each other cultures. So these are the total 16 qualities a student is supposed to acquire, so that he will be considered as the all-round skilled person. Total 6 qualities which comes under knowledge is called cognitive domain, and 4 qualities under competencies skill domain or metacognitive domain, and the 6 qualities which comes under this character qualities is called psychomotor domain. So we have to design our courses, we have to teach in such a way, our assessment, our evaluation, our teaching, our curriculum, everything should be aligned in such a way that the student get a chance to acquire all these 16 skills. ఇది బేస్ చేసిన మనం కోర్సెస్ పెట్టాలి. అందుకని ఏవో 38 కోర్స్ తీసుకొచ్చి మన లిస్ట్లో పెట్టేసి కలిపి అయిపోయిందంటే కాదు. దీని కనెక్షన్ తర్వాత ఉంటుంది. I said graduate attributes, the 12 graduate attributes. So at least 1 or 2 courses must be mapped to each of these program outcomes. If there is no course which can map to any PO, it clearly indicates that there is a gap in our curriculum. So unless we understand what are knowledge qualities, what are skill qualities, what are character qualities, we will not have a pure idea what are the courses to be adopted in our particular curriculum. Now, coming to the OBE. What led to this OBE? So this concept is not a new concept. In the 70s and 80s itself, the foreigners has identified this particular concept. Requirement to provide information on the quality of teaching and learning in higher education institutions. That is the first point which led to outcome-based education. Requirement to provide information on the quality of teaching and learning in the higher education institutions. ఏదో మనం చెప్పాడే కాదు, మనం చెప్పిన దాంట్లో క్వాలిటీ ఉందా లేదా, నిజంగా దాంట్లో స్టూడెంట్స్ నేర్చుకుంటున్నారు లేదా అని చెక్ చేయాలంటే there is no scope in British education. Exam లో 3 hours exam పెట్టేసి అక్కడ క్లోజ్ అయిపోతే we cannot assess any student. Next, changing needs of the information age. Every day technologies are being updated. So నేర్చుకున్నది, to be frank, in CSC direct courses, what are the courses the student learns will not be useful when actually they enter into the software job. But if we adopt the quality of self-learning and lifelong learning, then automatically he can learn the new topics once he gets a job. And నేర్చుకోవడానికి కావాల్సిన స్కిల్, క్యూరియాసిటీ, క్రిటికల్ థింకింగ్ అవన్నీ చేయగలిగితేనే అది మాత్రం ఆ జాబ్ చేయగలడు. తప్పొస్తే చేయలేడంటే అది ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ బి కన్సిడర్డ్ టు ఫెయిల్. Now, what is the accountability of this OBE? Most ratings and rankings focus and still focus on inputs, activities and research outputs such as research views, classes taught, and articles published. These performance indicators provide no measurement of the degree to which the higher education institutions actually develop the knowledge and skills of the students. Policymakers and stakeholders in several countries have emphasized the need to develop instruments to obtain comparable information on what students actually learn across the higher education institutions. So these three are the main points which tells us the accountability of this outcome-based education. So in our India, NBA, which came into existence 2014, and NAC, which came into existence 2017, they have the accreditation process that are based on these particular learning outcomes given by the OBE. So in the earlier days, as I said in 70s and 80s, Mr. William G. Spady has given this definition for OBE. Outcome-based education means clearly focusing and organizing everything in an education system around what is essential for all students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning experiences. This is the actual definition given by Dr. William G. Spady. Arranging, focusing, and organizing everything in the education system around the student only. What is essential for all the students to be able to do successfully at the end of their learning journey or learning experiences. This means starting with a clear picture of what is important for the students to be able to do, and then organizing our curriculum, our instruction and assessment to make sure this learning ultimately happens. So learning outcomes and one clarity unte ఆ అవుట్కమ్ రావడానికి మన కరికులం మనం ప్లాన్ చేసుకోవాలి, మన ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్ మెథడ్స్ ప్లాన్ చేసుకోవాలి, మన అసెస్మెంట్ మెథడ్స్ ప్లాన్ చేసుకోవాలి. దగ్గర ఏదో సిలబస్ పెట్టేసి ఏదో అవుట్కమ్ పేజ్ వచ్చారంటే రావు. అవి రావాలంటే దానికి తగ్గట్టుగా ప్లాన్ కూడా మనమే చేసుకోవాలి. కరికులం, అవర్ ఇన్స్ట్రక్షన్, అవర్ అసెస్మెంట్ షుడ్ బి అలైన్డ్ విత్ దోస్ లెర్నింగ్ అవుట్కమ్స్. దెన్ ఓన్లీ we can achieve those outcomes. Now, it is a student-centric education model that this is the latest definition. Student-centric education model that maps and measures student performance at every step. During the course, at the end of the course, during the program, at the end of the program, after the students finish the college, after 4 years, after 5 years, at every stage, this particular model will assess the performance of the student. The OBE model aims to maximize student learning outcomes by developing their knowledge, skills, and attitude. These together are known as 21st century skills, which already discussed. So this outcome-based education system also referred to as standard-based education in the Western countries, and is proven to be a success in helping the institutions measure their learning outcomes and at the same time enabling students to develop new skills that prepare them to stand out with their global counterparts. If you acquire a degree in India and if the degree and if the knowledge is not useful to work in any other country, then what is the use of our education system? So these factors can contribute to raising the education standard and aid institutions to acquire accreditation from esteemed accreditation bodies such as NBA by improving continuously in the long run. So this is the basic philosophy of OBE in this particular way. So there are only 4 main components: plan, do, check, act. Again, plan, do, check, act. This is a scientific process. This is the basic philosophy of OBE. The entire facts of this OBE. So we'll come to this at the end. So all the 8 topics which are there in this will be discussed now. So before going to OBE, the main purpose of this OBE is for accreditation mainly. So all the accreditation process are concentrating on OBE. They will assess only the outcome, whether we achieve the outcomes or not, they will assess only this. So first of all, we must understand what is accreditation. So accreditation is a process of quality assurance and improvement, whereby a program in an improved institution is critically appraised to verify that the institute or the program continues to meet and or exceed the norms and standards prescribed by the regulator from time to time. N or రెండు we have to meet the norms and standards, and if you are best, we can exceed the norms and standards also. So the accreditation agencies will check whether the institute is meeting the norms or whether they are exceeding the norms or not exceeding the norms. They will check. If you fail to reach the norms, automatically our programs will not be accredited. So it is a kind of recognition which indicates that a program or institution fulfills certain standards. Once a program in a college is accredited, then there is a minimum guarantee that this particular program is following some standards. There is a guarantee given by the agency to the public. Generally, in the NBA, only programs but not education institutions are considered accreditation. NAC will give accreditation for the entire institute, whereas this MBA, EBET, ESC, they are nothing but program accrediting agencies only. Now, the purpose of accreditation is not to find faults in the institution, but to assess the status and the performance. Accreditation వచ్చేది మన ఇన్సల్ట్ చేయడానికి మన దగ్గర తప్పులు ఎత్తడానికి కాదు. They will give the strengths, weaknesses, opportunities and challenges of a particular system, and they will give some suggestions for improvement. In the 3-day inspection schedule, on the last day they will conduct an exit meeting, and they will clearly tell these are the positive points for this particular program, these are your strengths, these are weaknesses, these are the opportunities where we can develop, these are the challenges. Unless you overcome these challenges, we cannot get these particular outcomes. So they will give. So based on that, we will come to know what are the plus and minus of our particular program. So that is so it's not, the purpose is not to find fault, but to give a clear idea about the plus and minus of a particular program. So the purpose of accreditation is not to denigrate the working style of the institution and its programs, but to provide a feedback of their strengths and weaknesses. Denigrate working style అంటే కామెంట్ చేయడం, చీప్ గా చూడడం, వేస్ట్ గా ఇలా కాకుండా క్లియర్ గా మీ వీక్నెస్ మీ స్ట్రెంగ్స్ తెలియదు, ఈ స్ట్రెంగ్స్ ని కంటిన్యూ చేయండి, ఈ వీక్నెస్ ఓవర్కమ్ చేయండి అని చెప్పి మనకు ఐడియా ఇవ్వడానికి మాత్రమే, అంతే మనం ఇన్సల్ట్ చేయడానికి. If we go for accreditation, if we fail, then we should not feel that we have failed. We got an opportunity to learn our actual status so that we can attempt for the next step, we can improve our system and we can get the accreditation. Next, the purpose of accreditation is not to demarcate the boundaries of quality, but to offer a sensitizing process for continuous improvement in quality provisions. There is no boundary for quality. We అంతేనా improve చేయొచ్చు. So demarcate quality ఎంత వరకు ఉండాలి అని ఏం చెప్పండి. But they will give an idea how best we can improve our quality. Next, the purpose of accreditation is not to select only institutes of national excellence, but to provide benchmarks of excellence and identification of good practices. ఏ బెస్ట్ కాలేజెస్ అని చెప్పడానికి accreditation కాదు. మన ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ లో ఎక్సలెన్స్ ఇంప్రూవ్ చేయడానికి బెంచ్ మార్క్స్ ఏంటి, మనకున్న లోకల్ సిచ్యువేషన్స్ బట్టి దే విల్ గివ్ ఎన్ ఐడియా. యూ కెన్ రీచ్ అప్ టు దిస్, మీకు ఛాన్స్ ఉంది, ఎంతవరకు వెళ్ళొచ్చు, మీరు ఇలా చేస్తే వెళ్ళొచ్చు అని క్లియర్గా మనకు ఐడియా ఇస్తారు. What are the benefits? Generally, during MP inspection, a principal and HODs will tell us, go and educate the faculty, go and educate the students. Because the company will interact with the faculty, company will interact with the students, so they have to give positive feedback about this faculty. They will tell. ఏం చెప్తే అవుతుంది అడ్రస్ అవుతారు, మా గురించి పాజిటివ్ చెప్పడం మనం బతిమాల్సిన అవసరం లేదు. So these are the benefits of accreditation. The first one is the most important of all benefits is it facilitates continuous quality improvement. That is the main benefit for the institution. It demonstrates the accountability to the public. If a program is accredited by NBA Tier 2 or Tier 1, then automatically the public, the parents or the students will have some minimum guarantee about this particular program. ఇక్కడ ఏదో ఉంది మన స్టూడెంట్ ఇక్కడ జాయిన్ చేస్తే పర్వాలేదు బాగానే ఉంటుంది కాన్ఫిడెన్స్ వాళ్ళు ఉంటుంది. నెక్స్ట్ ఇంప్రూవ్ ది స్టాఫ్ morale. That means if we are working in a department where our progress is to MBA type 1, then automatically we will have some brand value. When we go for any other college, automatically we will have some value. This particular person has worked in a type 1 institution. So automatically here we will have some qualities. We can depend on him, we can take him. మన గురించి కొంత పాజిటివ్ ఒపీనియన్ వస్తుంది. Recognizes the achievements and innovations of the particular program. Once the MBA created, or programs MBA created, then automatically the achievements are being recognized. It facilitates information sharing. Next, priority in getting financial assistance. Generally, if any program is created by MBA, then ACT will give a fund up to 25 lakhs under the scheme moderation of lakhs. If you can apply, then without any objection, we can get fund up to 25 lakhs for each program which is created by MBA. Similarly, there are some ACT schemes, UGC schemes. Unless our program is created by MBA, we are not eligible to apply to those particular schemes. So definitely MBA will have some advantage. Next, accreditation helps the institution to know its strengths, weaknesses, and opportunities. It initiates institutions to innovative and modern methods of pedagogy. Next, provides intra and inter-institutional interactions. If an institute is seconded by MBA, automatically other institutes will come forward to collaborate with us. మనకి accreditation happens, nobody cares us. మన గురించి ఎవరు పట్టించుకోరు. And these are the accredited agencies. Presently, the higher education programs in India are accredited by MBA, this program level accreditation, and NAC, National Assessment and Accreditation Council. At present, these are there, but the government is planning to unify all these ranking agencies. They want to get only one rank agency, National Accreditation Council, NBAC only. And NAC has already started implementing it. So from the last 2 years, NAC has stopped taking our 8 years everything. So they are introducing this new system. Henceforth, there will be no different accredited agencies, only one agency. One nation, one data. The regulatory body for collecting the data will be only one. It will collect the data. From that regulating body only, the accreditation agency will collect the data. They will conduct inspection. ఇన్నిసార్లు మన ఏసీటీ కో డేటా, యూజీసీ కో డేటా, జేఎన్టీ కో డేటా, ఇన్ని రకాల ఎంబీఏ కో డేటా ఇవ్వాల్సిన అవసరం ముందు ఉంటుంది. ప్రాసెస్ అంతా యూనిఫై చేస్తున్నారు. అది రావడం కొంచెం టైం పడుతుంది కాబట్టి న్యాక్ కూడా లేట్ అవుతుంది. Now, let us throw some light on this MBA because our OBE main purpose is getting MBA accreditation. That's why I'm giving maximum weight to this MBA. So this MBA is established there 1994 under Section 10U of the ACT Act. It became autonomous in the year January 2010. In April 2013, the Memorandum of Association and Rules of MBA are amended to make it completely independent of ACT, administrative as well as financially. The MBA and complete ACT control ఉండేది. Now MBA has nothing to do with ACT. It is a complete independent body. Even the college is approved by ACT, MBA has every right to result accreditation to the particular college. MBA became a permanent member of the Washington Accord in 2014. We'll discuss in detail about this Washington Accord in the next slide. As a prelude to becoming a permanent member of the Washington Accord, this MBA adopted the framework of OBE for accrediting the programs under its review. This OBE was initially adopted for engineering programs. Subsequently, MBA is extending its influence to other programs like pharmacy also. So everyone is talking about this Washington Accord. What is this Washington Accord? 5 things to know about Washington Accord and how it benefits Indian engineering students' global mobility upon accreditation. స్టూడెంట్ చెప్పినప్పుడు మన ప్రోగ్రామ్ MBA accredited అని చెప్తే స్టూడెంట్ ప్రశ్నగా అనుకోండి అయితే మాకేంటి వాట్ ఆర్ ది యూస్ కాలేజ్ బెనిఫిట్ మీ డిపార్ట్మెంట్ బెనిఫిట్ మార్కెట్ యూజ్ అడిగితే ఏం చెప్పాలి What is the purpose? In the Washington Accord on Science system, what is the purpose? So India is officially a member of the Washington Accord from 30th June 2014 with the permanent signatory status of the National Board of Accreditation. This is considered as the significant step of progress for the higher education sector in India. Now, how does India being a part of this accord benefit our students? Here are the 5 steps. First one, actually this Washington Accord was initially signed among only 6 top developed countries only. That is in 1989. This accord is nothing but an agreement, just like I'm going, it is an international agreement among bodies which are responsible for accrediting undergraduate engineering degree program. The accord aims at the graduates of the programs accredited by any one of the signatory bodies be recognized by other bodies as having met the academic requirements for entry to the practice of engineering in the area of their jurisdiction. Since India is also a member of this particular Washington Accord, if any student gets a BTech degree from any NBA Tier 1 accredited college program, then he will be eligible to work in all the remaining countries which have signed this Washington Accord. మన డిగ్రీ వాళ్ళ డిగ్రీకి ఈక్వల్ గా ట్రీట్ చేసి అక్కడ వాళ్ళ స్టూడెంట్స్ ఏ జాబ్స్ అయితే చేస్తారో అక్కడ అదే జాబ్స్ మన స్టూడెంట్స్ కూడా చేయడానికి ఈక్వల్ ఎలిజిబిలిటీ వాళ్ళు ఇస్తారు. దట్స్ ద మెయిన్ పర్పస్ ఆఫ్ సైన్ దిస్ వాషింగ్టన్ అకార్డ్. బట్ ఇలా చేయాలంటే వాళ్ళు ఏ సబ్జెక్ట్స్ నేర్చుకుంటారు అది మనం కూడా నేర్చుకుంటాం. అందుకే ప్రొఫెషనల్ బాడీస్ కాన్సెప్ట్ వచ్చింది. IEEE, IIT ఇవన్నీ వచ్చింది అందుకే. సో దే విల్ డిసైడ్ the minimum courses which a student has to study so that it will be considered as an undergraduate engineering. Unless we covers all those courses, will not be considered equal to the other countries. So Washington Accord will give the lead societies to so this Washington Accord encourages and facilitates the mobility of engineering graduates and professionals at international. That's the main purpose. It means that a student in India graduating from an institute accredited by NBA is eligible to practice as an engineer in his or her relevant domain in any one of the countries that have signed the Washington Accord. That is the main purpose. Are the students మనం చెప్పాలి. The only body eligible for recognition of engineering course in India is NBA. So Washington Accord law recognizes the body NBA. Unless our program is accredited by NBA, will not be considered, our degree is not considered equal to their degrees. That's the NBA accreditation. That's what Tier 1, not Tier 2. Tier 2 and affiliate college accreditation are the usable one. So only the NBA accredited programs offered by Tier 1 institutions are eligible for recognition as per Washington Accord. Moreover, the Tier 1 institution should reapply for declaration from NBA of the inclusion of India in the Accord to eligibility. 2014 ముందు అక్రిడేషన్ ఉంటే అది మంచిది. వాషింగ్టన్ అకార్డ్ సైన్ చేసిన తర్వాత మళ్ళీ ఫ్రెష్ అక్రిడేషన్ అయితేనే డిగ్రీస్ వాల్యూ. ఇప్పుడు మన ఇండియా సైన్ చేస్తుంది కాబట్టి 2010 లో మన కాలేజ్ సిఎస్సి లో బయటకు వస్తే వాడు క్లెయిమ్ చేయలేదు. ఐ కేమ్ ఫ్రమ్ ఎంబీఏ అక్రిడేషన్ ప్రోగ్రామ్. వాళ్ళు ఎప్పుడైతే రిలీవ్ అయ్యారో అప్పటికి ఎంబీఏ అక్రిడేషన్ లేకుండా ఉన్నారు. నెక్స్ట్, India's inclusion in the Washington Accord does not immediately guarantee the rules be applicable to all engineering graduates today. It is applicable only to graduates in time institute that are recruited by MBA. The graduate must have completed the program after the date of acquiring the signatory status. That is after 13 June 2014 B. తర్వాత 2014 తర్వాత మన కాలేజీలో ఒక బ్రాంచ్ కన్ఫిగరేషన్ ఉంటే ఆ బ్రాంచ్ కి ఎవరు బయటకు వస్తే వాడు వాషింగ్టన్ అకార్డ్ పెట్టారు. మిగతా సిగ్నేటరీ కంట్రీస్ లో వర్క్ చేయడానికి ఈక్వల్ ఎలిజిబిలిటీ ఉంటుంది. ఇది మన స్టూడెంట్స్ కి చెప్పాలి. ఎంబీఏ వాళ్ళు ఏం యూజ్. Now coming to Sydney Accord. So this Washington Accord is giving the equivalent status for the undergraduate programs. Whereas Sydney Accord this gives the equivalence of the diplomas, diploma mechanical, diploma electrical. What equivalence was the Sydney Accord? The Sydney Accord is an agreement between the bodies responsible for accrediting engineering technologist qualification programs. Engineering technologist means simply diploma. in each of the signatory countries. So this was signed in 2001. Washington Accord in 1989 initially, then it would expand in 2014, whereas the Sydney Accord was signed first in 2001. Next, Dublin Accord. This is the promotion lower level. Ante man IT ante kada vocation courses like this. This Dublin Accord is the agreement for the international recognition of engineering technician qualifications. మన దగ్గర గవర్నమెంట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ప్రైవేట్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఐటీఐ కానీ ఏమైనా చేస్తే వాళ్ళు ఇంకేదైనా కంట్రీ యూఏ కానీ దుబాయ్ కానీ ఎక్కడికైనా జాబ్ చేయాలంటే వెదర్ దే ఎలిజిబుల్ ఆర్ నాట్, దానికి డబుల్ రికార్డ్ లో ఈక్వలెన్స్ రావాలంటే వాళ్ళ పర్టికులర్ టెక్నీషియన్ ప్రాబ్లం ఏ కోర్సెస్ నేర్చుకుని ఉండాలి, వాళ్ళు డిసైడ్ చేసిన కోర్స్ నేర్చుకుంటే ఈక్వలెన్స్ ఇస్తారు. So in May 2002, the National Engineering Organizations of Ireland, United Kingdom, South Africa, Canada, first they have started and signed an agreement mutually recognizing the qualifications which underpin the graduating of engineering technician titles in the four countries. So we operation on the same Dublin Accord, Sydney Accord, Washington Accord, rules everything and the same. So మన దేశంలో ఎవరైనా ఇంజనీరింగ్ స్టూడెంట్ కాలేజ్ బయటకు వస్తే వాడు మిగతా కంట్రీ జాబ్ చేయాలంటే వాడు డిగ్రీకి వెళ్ళి ఉందా లేదా అది చెక్ చేయడానికి వాషింగ్టన్ అకార్డ్స్ యూజ్ అవుతుంది. Now, coming to the continuous improvement. So continuous improvement in education process will take the institution in right track to reach the vision and ensure quality education to students. The main philosophy of OP is continuous quality improvement. Quality at student level, quality at instruction level, quality at faculty level, quality at institution performance level. So OBE purpose saying quality improvement. ప్రతి చోట అదే చెక్ చేస్తుంది. So the overall quality improvement is ensured by the yearly improvement in student performance, staff performance and institution performance. Quality పెరగాలంటే మంచి స్టూడెంట్స్ ఉంటే చాలు, మంచి ఫ్యాకల్టీ ఉండాలి, ఇన్స్టిట్యూట్ ఫెసిలిటీస్ ఉండాలి, ఉండాలి. So the overall quality improvement is ensured by the yearly improvement in student performance, staff performance and institution performance. So how to assess the students' performance? Quality improvement check cheyalante. This can be assessed through academic percentage, that's the basic one. Next, attainment of program outcomes. How many students are selected for higher studies? How many students were placed in reputed companies with high packages? Next, how many students got ranks in national examinations? So, using these four parameters, the NBA will assess the student performance. Academic percentage will undali, sagam fail ayipoyi mitta undu get qualified ayitadu. Attainment of program outcomes, as attain avvalante we have to carefully design our courses so that every PO is attained. If there is no course which maps to any one PO, then there is gap in our curriculum. PO attain avvaladante misalignment. Next, higher studies. How many students got selected for MTech? How many students got selected for MBA in premium institutes like IIM, like that? Next, how many students got placements in top reputed companies? Channel companies got top reputed companies, median package and check this. Next, number of rank holders. So through these four parameters, they will check the student performance. And faculty perform quality ala check chestar. Staff student ratio. How many faculty are there per students? 1:20 ratio, 1:15, 1:12. So adi check chestre dan batti. The ratio is not common. For UG programs it is 1:20. For PG programs it is 1:12. For some programs it is 1:15. Marpadu. So unless minimum faculty is there, we cannot expect quality. ఎవరికి ఎంత వర్క్అవుట్ ఉండాలి అంత ఉంటేనే క్వాలిటీ మీద కాన్సన్ట్రేట్ చేయగలరు. అంతేగాని ఖాళీ ఉన్నాడు కదా 10 తీరు వేస్తారు ఏ యూజ్ ఉంటుంది, క్వాలిటీ అని రాదు, రిజల్టే రాదు ఫార్మాట్ నుంచి. నెక్స్ట్, ఫ్యాకల్టీ క్వాలిఫికేషన్ అండ్ క్యాడర్. This is also very important. At present, 1:2:6 cadre should be maintained. Out of the 9 faculty available in a department, 1 must be professor, 2 must be associate professors, and 6 must be assistant professors. Minimum requirement. If there are 3 process and no associate, that's also okay. Amplican high level can pursue. If all the 9 process, that is very, very good. So maximum number of first pros allowed out of 9 is 6 only. Remaining 3 must be doctorates, out of them at least 1 must be professor. ఇలా ఉంటేనే categorization begin. In 90% of the colleges in India, this is the main problem. Categorization. Next, qualifications also. Even though we claim that a person having 20 years experience associate was without PhD, they will not consider qualification. Qualification experience category. Then only the faculty is considered to be a qualified faculty. Next, publications, research incentives, activities, research fund, consultancy. They will check all this. But doctorate అంటే ఎన్ని టాప్ పబ్లిష్ చేశాడు, citations ఉన్నాయి, H-index ఉంటుంది, item index ఉంటుంది, everything they will check. So what is the quality of research articles? వాటికి ఎన్ని స్కాప్స్ ఉన్నాయి, ఎన్ని సైన్స్ డైరెక్ట్ ఉన్నాయి, everything they will check. Next, how much fund he has obtained from the funding agencies. Next, whether the particular faculty is doing any consultancy, whether it is generating any revenue for the department, for the institution. That shows the quality of the faculty. One experience, ఎవరు పట్టించుకోరండి. ఎక్స్పీరియన్స్ పిహెచ్ అయిన వరకు పిహెచ్ చేయలేదని అంటుంటారు. పిహెచ్ చేసినప్పటి నుంచి అసలు కష్టం స్టార్ట్ అవుతుంది. ఇంకా అక్కడి నుంచి పేపర్లు అంటారు, ఫండ్ అంటారు, అదర్ అంటారు. ఎవరికి ఎక్కడ ఏది సుఖం చూస్తాం కదా. ఇంటర్మీడియట్ చదువుతుంది, 2 ఏళ్ళు కష్టపడి చదివితే చాలు, మీకు ఏం సెట్ అయిపోతుంది. బీటెక్ జాయిన్ అయిన తర్వాత 4 ఏళ్ళు కష్టపడితే చాలు అంటారు. తర్వాత లైఫ్ లాంగ్ కష్టపడుతుంటారు. ఎక్కడ ఏది స్టాప్ ఉండదు. ఫిలాసఫీ ఇట్ సెల్ఫ్ ఇస్ కంటిన్యూస్ ఇంప్రూవ్మెంట్. Next, competency level. Next, outside interaction. Even though we are having so much of knowledge, unless we interact with outside industries, outside institutions, we will not be considered to be a qualified study, quality faculty. మన నెట్వర్క్ ఎంత స్ట్రాంగ్ గా ఉంటే మనకు వాల్యూ ఉంటుంది. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, కొంతమంది పేరు చెప్పగానే అందరికీ తెలుస్తారు, సో అండ్ సో ఫ్యాకల్టీ అనగానే అందరికీ తెలుస్తుంది. మన గురించి బయట ప్రపంచాన్ని తెలియకపోతే మనకి ఎంత నాలెడ్జ్ ఉన్నా దానివల్ల యూజ్ లేదు. సో వీ హ్యావ్ టు ఇంటరాక్ట్, వీ హ్యావ్ టు డెవలప్ ఎ నెట్వర్క్ విత్ అదర్ రీసెర్చ్ ఆర్గనైజేషన్స్, అదర్ అకాడమిక్ ఇన్స్టిట్యూషన్స్, అదర్ ఇండస్ట్రీస్, సో దట్ we will develop in turn, we can benefit our students through our networking interactions. Next, academic collaborations. So many institutions of India now they are having collaborations with foreign universities. When NAP 2020 లో కూడా ఒక మెయిన్ పార్ట్ ఉంటుంది, గ్లోబలైజేషన్ ఆఫ్ అవర్ ఎడ్యుకేషన్. బయట దేశ యూనివర్సిటీ మన దగ్గర క్యాంపస్ పెట్టింది. Our institution national importance, they have to open branches in foreign countries so that we can attract foreign students and we can generate the revenue. Already IIT Chennai has opened campuses in 3 countries. BITS planning, already they have campuses in Dubai. Unless we have academic collaborations globally, will not be considered to have quality. So these are the parameters by which we can assess the faculty quality. Now to assess the quality of the institution as per OBE. So these are the various parameters using which the improvement in institution can be measured. First, strategic planning process. We must have a strategy after 5 years, after 10 years, after 15 years, after 20 years, where we want to take our institute. I think clarity on that. Next, interaction with local community. The area in which our college is situated must have good network with the local community, with the local industries, and they should feel that we are proud to have this institute in this particular area. మన వల్ల మన చుట్టూ ఎబిలిటీ యూజ్ లేకపోతే బయట వాడు అవడం మనం గుర్తించాలి. Next, interaction with industries, interaction with professional bodies, collaboration with other universities, mobilization of fund for institution, development through consultants and research, interdisciplinary activities, alumni involvement, self-assessment and academic auditing, and integrations. All these terms are self-explanatory. I need not explain anything. So mainly alumni involvement. So the student graduated from our college, if he is in a good position, then he has to contribute something, not only in terms of money, but he can share his knowledge, he can guide the present students. So if all of these students, the world students, come forward to help the institutions, then only the institute will have some value in the eyes of MBA. ఈ కాలేజ్ బయటకు వెళ్ళిన ఎవరు మళ్ళీ కాలేజ్ పట్టించుకోవట్లేదంటే దట్ షోస్ ద అటాచ్మెంట్ బిట్వీన్ ది స్టూడెంట్స్ అండ్ ది కాలేజ్. అది ఎక్కువ అబ్జర్వ్ చేస్తారు. Now, TPL. So all these are fundamentals of OBM, touching each and everything. After that, 5 minutes will go in depth. Next, target performance level, TPL. Already MBA departments will carry on. Can anyone explain what is TPL? Target performance level. TPL will be set for a batch of students join in a 4-year program based on the age of the program. Let the batch average percentage is say X%. If you fix the target performance rate TPL at N%, then you say that the target is attained if N students score above X%. This is how we have to fix the TPL. So for example, let us consider a class of 60 students. That the average pass percentage of all the students is 66%. We have fixed the TPL as 70%. When can we say that the target performance level is attained? When TPL 70%, 60 or 70% in the 42. So, when average pass percentage 66. Amtakam ekko 70% of the students value. We can conclude that TPL is achieved if minimum of 40 students, means 70% of the total students, 60, gets percentage or and above the average percentage 68. Then only we say that we have achieved the target performance. So every year ఒక batch next batch వెళ్ళేటప్పుడు TPL మనం ఫిక్స్ చేయాలి. అచీవ్ అవుట్లైన్ చెప్పి TPL తగ్గించడం కాదు. So measure to improve quality. If we achieve or cross the TPL, then to improve the quality next year either we can raise the TPL or strive hard to improve the average percentage in the class. 17 45 చేయొచ్చు, and the average pass from the 68 to 45 80 చేయొచ్చు. ఏదో చేస్తే తగ్గించుకో. అప్పుడు ఇంప్రూవ్మెంట్ ఉంటుంది. A department's performance is evaluated based on the number of students selected for air studies, number qualified in complex examinations like GATE, GRE, CAT, and the number placed in repeat organizations. So academic performance is not the only criteria. Even though all students got CGPA 9 and above, but if no students qualified in GATE, then there is no quality. Simply they will ignore our result. Just a first of such natural. If we qualify in GATE, that is more valuable than a 10 CGPA. Now, another aspect is feedback mechanism. In OP, the next parameter, feedback mechanism. Based on the years of the program. The program, for example, 15 years service. Make simple that 50% 60% about the see. Part 15 years and the part stage virtual knowledge. So that would fix us. Manager safe setting 60% of the bit. But as the years becomes higher, automatically TPL should be raised. Okay, 15 years experience that TPL minimum 70% nobody cares. Based on the performance of the last batches and based on the age of the program, we have to fix a suitable number. Then man achieve cheyaladi 50% betters anukondi. NBA పట్టించుకోదు. 15 years experience in that department, TPL minimum 70% nobody cares. Yes, whatever research is. Last year retirement చూసుకుని TPL అచీవ్ అయ్యారా లేదా చెక్ చేసుకుని దాన్ని బట్టి ఎలా దాన్ని ఇంప్రూవ్ చేయాలి అనేది డిస్కస్ చేయాలి. Now feedback mechanism. Feedback on curriculum needs to be collected from all stakeholders. So the alumni, employers, research organizations, professional bodies, students, parents and academic peers. All these are the stakeholders, prime stakeholders. So we take feedback from all about our curriculum, about assessment, everything. What is the role? The role of feedback mechanism to design and use it. For example, for autonomous colleges, first we have to document the feedback. The feedback is to be submitted to the Department Board of Studies BOS. They have to go through the feedback given by various stakeholders. Based on that, they have to make corrections in their syllabus, their curriculum. Then different departments, different BOS may get different feedback. So the important salient points of the feedback from various stakeholders should be discussed with the joint BOS again. Next, the joint BOS will identify some important feedback points which are useful for our curriculum management, and in next submitted with recommendations to the college academic council. Individual BOS లో feedback analysis చేసి దాంట్లో క్యాజువల్ అయితే ఫీడ్బ్యాక్స్ పక్కన పెట్టేసి ఇంపార్టెంట్ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్స్ తీసుకుని దాన్ని జాయింట్ BOS డిస్కస్ చేయాలి. Again, joint BOS which will collect the feedback from various BOS will identify some important points that will be useful. Again, they have to discuss that with the college academic council. The college academic council is the final authority that will decide which feedback is to be considered, which feedback is to be neglected. So the college academic council shall decide on consideration recommendations in designing revision of curriculum and మన autonomous కాబట్టి okay, but non-autonomous colleges వాళ్ళు ఏం చేయలేదు. So they can simply send a letter or mail to the affiliated university for consideration of advising the syllabus. యూనివర్సిటీ సిలబస్ గురించి మా ఎంప్లాయీస్ మా పేరెంట్స్ అంటారు ఇలా చేంజ్ చేస్తే బాగుంటుంది, మనం లెటర్ పెట్టచ్చు. ఆ లెటర్ పెట్టిన ప్రూఫ్ ఉంటే ఎన్బిఏ యాక్సెప్ట్. మన అటానమస్ అయితే మనం చేంజ్ చేయాలి. మన అటానమస్ కాకపోతే జస్ట్ we can show a proof to the accreditation agency that we have collected the feedback, we identified the gaps in the curriculum, and we inform the concerned university. Whether they take action or not, that is not in our hands. But since we are autonomous, it is completely our responsibility. The feedback on curriculum delivery should be taken from students twice in a semester. These are the fixed process. The feedback on evaluation process can be taken to make the process transparent, but it is optional. So far, we are not taking feedback on evaluation process. We are taking feedback on the quality of question paper only. On spot evaluation alone, then go to feedback is for the number. No college dares to take feedback and evaluation. It will expose their negative points. So generally, but the committee will appreciate if you take feedback on the evaluation process also. Next, the feedback from industry should be taken not from every employee, but from a potential employee who is coming frequently to the campus for training or recruitment. If a company is coming again and again to the campus for recruitment students, it means that they have some positive opinion about our students, about our process, about the institution. Otherwise, second time they will not come to our college. So, ఎవరైతే రెగ్యులర్ గా మన కాలేజ్ రిక్రూట్మెంట్ కానీ ట్రైనింగ్ కానీ వస్తున్నారు వాళ్ళ దగ్గర ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ తీసుకుంటే డెఫినెట్లీ దట్ విల్ గివ్ సమ్ పాజిటివ్ ఇన్పుట్స్ ఫర్ క్వాలిటీ ఇంప్రూవ్మెంట్. నెక్స్ట్, feedback on institution performance on the parameters like ranking, accreditation, placements, infrastructure facilities, and success rate. We have to take feedback on all these parameters. మన కాలేజ్ వచ్చి ర్యాంకింగ్స్ సరిపోతున్నాయి సరిపోవట్లేదా, పేరెంట్స్ అని ఫీల్ అవుతున్నారు, స్టేక్ హోల్డర్స్ అని ఫీల్ అవుతున్నారు. అలాగే అక్రిడిటేషన్స్, ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్ we got accreditation MBA, but still we are striving hard to get an NIRF ranking. For the last 6 years we are trying, but we are missing in 2 parameters. So ఇవన్నీ మనకు తెలుసు. Next, feedback on placements. We can say that our students are 100% placed, but how the parents are feeling, how the students are feeling, whether the placements what we are offering are meeting the requirements of the parents and students. మన ఇచ్చిన salary కానీ మనం చూపించే కంపెనీ కానీ వాడు నష్టపోతారు లేదా, అది ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ is improvement potential. Next, feedback on infrastructure facilities, feedback on the success rate. When they feedback on all these parameters to assess the institution performance. Generally, we are taking year-end survey for this one. So this to be taken every year once to assess the functioning of the institution and take suitable action for it. సో ఈ ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ప్రాసెస్ కూడా ఒక ప్రొసీజర్ ఉంది. We can take manually or through online. Next, we have to decide the frequency of collecting feedback. For example, feedback on curriculum delivery, we should take in twice in a semester. With this purpose only, we initiate the process of CDMC, Curriculum Delivery Monitoring Committee (CDMC). So, we have to sample size. We will not ask each and every student. We will take the opinion of only 4 to 5 students of the particular class. That may include toppers, weak students, class representatives. Maximum for Anthony. We take feedback from them about the curriculum delivery. As per course from the teacher is taking classes, when the teacher giving scope for student to ask the questions, what is the support given by the teacher, what is the given support given by the student for the teacher to complete syllabus. Even in the check. Regular feedback will be taken from all the students, whether the student is regular or regular. But if we take feedback through the CDMC, if we compare the overall feedback with the CDMC feedback, then we will get a correct idea about the curriculum delivery. Next, what is the purpose of taking feedback? For the improvement. So just before mid examination, just before one, if we take the feedback and the student says the syllabus is not covered, then we can't do anything. That's why CDMC will be conducted 10 days prior to the mid examination, so that we finish. The students say that out of the 6 subjects, in 4 subjects syllabus is covered and the 2 subjects syllabus lacking. Then we will inform the concerned class teacher and the HOD to give extra classes to those teachers so that they can complete the syllabus. That is the purpose of CDMC. Not simply for taking feedback and putting in a file for MBA and NAC. That is not the purpose. So, for the uniform coverage of syllabus in all these subjects, the CDMC should act dynamically. Next, custodian of all the document records and intention of taking feedback. Feedback and this intention at the clear. Simply not for documentation purpose. If we show any document to the MBA, then simply they will ask, what is the purpose? What will you achieve with this? What is the action plan? What is the output? Even bold cases and bold files in system. For example, internal audit chesam okay. Problems identify chesaru. Internal auditing lo we loopholes తెలుసాయి. First audit. Next, we have conducted external audit and check on whether the external auditor gone through the internal audit report or not అని check చేస్తారు. దానికి దీనికి సంబంధం లేకుండా రికార్డ్ పెట్టేసాం అనుకోండి. Nobody considered the auditing process. Simply పక్కన పెట్టేస్తారు. మనం అన్ని చేసేసాం అనుకుంటాం కానీ వాడు మనకు నమ్ముతారు. ఇంటర్నల్ ఆడిటింగ్ లో ఏవైతే లూప్హోల్స్ ఐడెంటిఫై చేస్తారో ఎక్స్టర్నల్ ఆడిట్ లో అవి చెక్ చేయాలి. దానికి సపోర్టింగ్ గా యాక్షన్ ప్లాన్ ఏంటో సజెస్ట్ చేయాలి. ఆ యాక్షన్ ప్లాన్ మనం ఇంప్లిమెంట్ చేసి లూప్ క్లోజ్ చేసినట్టు ప్రూవ్ చేయాలి. అన్లెస్ ద లూప్ ఈస్ క్లోజ్డ్, వన్స్ ద ప్రాబ్లమ్స్ ఆర్ ఐడెంటిఫైడ్, if there is no proper action plan to close that particular problem, loop close avapothe our entire process is simply time-based process. Nobody gets ఇది ఇన్ని ఫైల్స్ పెట్టండి వాళ్ళు ఏమడగరు. ఫీడ్బ్యాక్ ఏమొచ్చింది, దాన్ని ఇంప్రూవ్ చేయడానికి మీరు ఏం చేశారో దానికి ఎవిడెన్స్ ఉంది. ఇది చెప్పలేకపోతే మన ప్రాసెస్ ఇన్ని లక్షల పేజీలు పెట్టినా సరే సింప్లీ దొరుకుతుంది. So, in every college, the IPS internal quality assurance cell must facilitate this process by prescribing standardized formats for feedback and analyzing the feedback. So, in our IPSC, we have developed some academic forms known as AC forms, and we have developed some survey forms called SC forms. For every feedback, we have a fixed form. If time permits, we will present a separate PPT for IPAC best practices so that you can understand what are the various forms we have in our college, what are the various agreements. We are following those forms on fixed numbers. Okay, let us take a small break for 10 minutes.